First, I want to definitely thank y'all for coming out. It means a lot. Those who I know, those who I don't know yet, those who I've grown to know in time. Um, I'm from the Bronx, New York. I've been in Atlanta. I'm also an implant Atlanta baby. But the first actual lesson that we're touching into, it plays a lot into who you are, where you're from, the experiences that you have. And the first main key is how to properly take in inspiration and make it your own. Also, if you have any questions, if you want to pitch in, say something too, feel free. Like, this is not just me talking to y'all, it's us having a conversation, it's a dialogue. And I think the biggest thing that you can take from fashion and creating fashion is to understand and to know that even in fashion, when you're creating something, it's a dialogue between you and the medium. Like, you're using your life that you've been through, the things that you've experienced, and you're putting that onto and channeling that onto the surface. And in doing so, sometimes the surface will tell you like this is not cutting it. It's not good. It's not right. But when you do those things, it allows you to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what's right, what's wrong, and then as you grow and you grow within your certain medium, your certain part of fashion, your lane of fashion, you just get better with it and get better at it. So, one of you, any of you, what would you say is like your biggest inspiration right now? Any of you?
Women.
You said what?
Women.
Women?
Yes.
So, what about women is so inspiring to you? Like
the complexity, the vulnerability,
the layers.
the layers. Yes.
And even with that now, it's like you now with your experience as a woman, using your inspiration or having inspiration of women, and breaking that down into the different layers of that, you have a way and you have an opportunity now to share that experience and that perspective to the world of people. And the biggest thing now, one of the biggest things now as a woman is to be represented, whether no matter shape, size, color, form, what you think, what you believe, what you just want your experience to be heard and understood. And that is a viable source and use to use that as for your fashion or for your whatever you choose to create. So that's just for example, but that's to say we all have something that inspires us. We all have inspiration that we definitely take things from and transmute that into our designs. But now, when we take that inspiration and now we're like using it and trying to find our way and trying to design and create pieces, this goes into our second point and our second piece of how to find your own design language. So when you're trying to find your own design language, we're all inspired by different things. So for example, she's inspired by women. Like, say one day she's walking down the street and she's like, dang, I like what she has on. Like, or I like what she's wearing, and then she uses that experience with that woman, or what she's seen from that woman or within that woman, and uses that to, like, for the campaign, or when she creates the campaign, or the shoot for for whatever design she just made based off her inspiration. And now using that inspiration of the woman and using that experience that she personally has had and seen from that woman, she's now using that, within her design language per se. And the design language is something that you aren't gonna build overnight. You're not gonna build that like in one day. It takes time of you playing with your inspiration and playing with your designs and playing with your passion to really truly hone in on that. Okay, I said to say basically using it all goes into a lane, right? It all correlates. So if you find your inspiration and you being inspired per se, you're our example for the day. You being inspired by women per se, right? And then now like this is your inspiration, this is what you really base everything off of. And you're outside now and you're like seeing someone and it's like, dang, I like the way she walks, the way she talks. And you utilize that same thing into your vision, into your approach. And as you go, it's not gonna be an overnight thing, it's not gonna be easy for you to find those things, but ultimately you have to be super hyper aware of the different things that people may say to you about your brand, how it makes them feel, and or honestly, sometimes you just have to be super like just clueless and let some things come to you as they come to you. It's not gonna. It's all weird. For example, for myself, during 2020 when the pandemic happened, I knew early in the year I really wanted like an insignia design. Like the Telfar has like the T and the E's. It's so beautiful, so clean, so nice, and so crisp. Up to that point, my logo was like just written out like homage year, super. Okay, it's on? Y'all hear it? Okay. My logo was super, it was just ugly to me. Like, I couldn't do anything with it. And I was like this
I was thinking on it a lot, but I had to let go to a certain degree, and then eventually one day I was just laying down, and I was just drawing stuff, and it just came to me. It just happened. So you have to be super fixated on wanting to create something for your own and create something that's like unique to you and also that resonates with people. But you also want to be mindful that it's not an overnight thing. You have to take time with it and give yourself some time. It really doesn't build in a day. Creating your own lane takes a lot of time. If you see people building the street on the road, paving, it takes a lot to repave a road, or it takes a lot to actually make a road. And give yourself some time. Be patient with yourself. The third point is drawing inspiration from your own experiences and being authentic to yourself. We really touched on that. But the last one, the main important one, is to be willing to invest your time into stupid ideas. I can't tell you how many times I had ideas that I thought was dumb or stupid, and or my friends told me that I had ideas that were dumb or stupid, and I just tried it, and I took the jump with it, I took the risk with it. But in making those decisions and taking those dumb decisions and investing that time into those idiotic decisions, I found out what works for me and what doesn't work for me, and what works for my brand, what doesn't work for my brand. And I think those are some of the most important things, or one of the most important processes of having a brand and finding your own voice within your brand, is knowing that you have to make those mistakes at times. And if you look back on your life, okay, before I even say that, raise your hand if you think you're at the right place at the right time right now. Raise your hand if there's at any point in your life, though, where you felt like you just made the worst, the most wrong, the most dumb decision. And those two things go hand in hand. You are never going to get to the place where you want to be without making an error or making a mistake or making a foolish decision at times. Unfortunately, we're not perfect. I live that every day. But those imperfections is what allows us to create things that align and resonate with people. No one wants to be caught from a brand that is endorsing a perfect lifestyle. That's corny, and it's not realistic. And we nowadays especially want the most realistic things. So actually, and then also, there's some really key questions to ask yourself too when behind what you're making, what you're creating too. I think also nowadays we lack intentionality a lot. And one of the biggest things that was for me when I made my brand was who I was doing it for and what I was doing it for. So I made Homage in 2014 after my father passed away, and more and more people were passing away and passing away and passing away. But after his passing, basically, I was inspired, and I used that experience to get back into my artistic drive in my fields. And when I was going to start making clothes again, or wanted to make clothes again, use clothes as a means of expression in a way which painting couldn't do or poetry couldn't do, I had a brand called Moist Trends I was gonna make. So ugly, so dumb, and it was gonna be emoji clothes and what we were doing in 2014, the little sad boy era stuff. It was gonna be really emotional and good for the time, but it was just dumb. And I had to sit down and look and be is this really something I want to do? Is this something that's worth my time? Is it something that's truly representative and expressive of me? Because what you decide to put out in the world, that's what you will be seen as, unfortunately, sometimes. And I took the time to think about it and to ponder on it. As I said, it's not made over a day. And I was like, it doesn't align with what I want. And then I just sat on it and was just thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. And then one day the name Homage came to me. And I was like, okay, but what does that mean? What is that for? And I'm like, okay, remember the year. Remember the year of what? Remember what you're doing it for. Remember who you're doing it for. Remember what's going on in your life. And from those simple realizations, then I built the principles and the pillars of my brand. Yes, for 3 pillars. One is to commemorate and to remember those who you lost along the way. 2 is to immortalize them. 2 is to, create socio-political pieces that are they're supercharged, but also make fire. We want to make really nice, really bussin' things that mean something to people, because that's what we have to do. You have to make things that really matter and resonate with people, but that look amazing. Sometimes it's hard to do both. It's actually really hard to do both. Sometimes it's really corny, but that goes back into you have to make those mistakes and figure it out and roll the dice and learn. So my biggest question to you all, though, and this is rhetorical, you don't have to answer it to me or to now or whatnot. But I do definitely want you, when you go home, to really think about, why do you want this brand or the brand that you're going to create? Who is it for? What will it mean to those people? And ultimately, how does what you're creating, how does that reflect on you? Because those things matter. What you put into the world, that's all you have. And unfortunately, the way internet works, once it's out there, it's out there forever.